Hi, I'm Paul Menig, and I'd like to share with you some ideas I have for how you can build a great business so that you get more money from the business and more time for your life. Do you offer anything for free? An analysis, a conversation, an estimate? I suspect everyone offers something for free, even if it is not obviously identified. You can establish rapport and trust with free, but you cannot make money. So you must be looking to find revenue everywhere else. Free is an acronym that won't directly make you money. The key is to remove the R from free and turn it into a fee. To do that, you need a plan. I call it a game plan. Why do I say game? Partially because we all like sports, card games, dice games, and more. But more importantly because I want business to be a bit more fun. So the game plan is to grow and make earnings. Sounds great, but how are you going to do that? Like a lot of people, I find foreign sports cars cool to look at. In this case, the Porsche 987 becomes a roadmap of sorts for strategy. In 1980, Kepner Trago, a well-known consulting company to the Fortune 500, published this small book called Top Management Strategy: What It Is and How to Make It Work. It outlined 9 driving forces of strategy. Lots of people have heard Steve Jobs say strategy is about saying no. Well, long before he said that, Kepner and Trago made the point. They suggested any company, anywhere in the world, can be put into just 3 categories of overall strategy with the 9 driving forces. They can be focused on results at all costs. It can be size and growth, such as many of the startups that are not making much money, like Uber. Or they can be focused on the ROI or profits, such as most banks are. They could focus on the products offered, such as Ford offering cars and trucks. Or they could be focused on serving market needs. I might argue that GM is now moving from products offered to market needs by looking at all aspects of transportation, including their investment in Lyft. There are 5 more options in the middle that Kepner and Trago said are focused on the capabilities of the company. I could argue that Apple is a technology company. I recently toured a company in Canby that makes springs of all sorts of shapes and sizes. That would be a production capability focus. I might suggest that Amazon is a company focused on method of sale. They will sell you anything over the internet. Why they are now opening bookstores after they put most of the bookstores out of business is a question for me. I've worked in transportation for a good part of my career with the likes of UPS and FedEx. I think they could fall into the method of distribution category. Another group in that category would be grocery and department stores. Of course, brick and mortar stores are being taken out by other methods of distribution. Few of us are involved with the likes of mining companies and those involved in natural resources. So, before Steve Jobs, Kepner and Trago said, you can only serve one king, so choose carefully. You might argue that the king has a queen that has to be kept happy too. I'll agree. GM makes cars, finances cars, leases cars, and now provides rides. Consider their annual report to shareholders and analysts. Where do they make the money today? What are their priorities? Where will they make money tomorrow? I've worked with hundreds of companies as a supplier, as a customer, as a buyer of the company. I recently came across a good summary of what makes a company valuable. This is where the 8 in the Porsche 987 comes in. Value is in the eye, not of ourselves, but of the buyer. How many of us know we are getting older, but still see ourselves as that vibrant child or college kid? Last year, a $60 painting was revalued and sold for just over $450 million. What in the world could so drastically change the value of a piece of canvas with some oil paint on it? So, how do you know how valuable your company is? That Porsche 987 has a speedometer where the red section is the danger area on the far right. For your business, that danger area is on the left, the low side of value. Whether you use a non-denominational scale of 0 to 100 as here, or use dollars. Wouldn't you be interested in dramatically improving the value of your business? Certainly it can help when you sell the business, but it can also help you with the bank when you want to borrow some money for expansion or to pursue a new area of concentration. Just over 34,000 companies have now taken a 15-minute survey and then learned how they can increase the value of their company by up to 71%. Sound good? Let's look at the 8 areas quickly. It should not come as a shock that your current revenue and profit are a big factor. Fortunately, many of you here today have a CPA to provide a solid level of professional record keeping, right? Or are you tossing someone a box of receipts and papers at the end of the year and bugging them to make sense of it all for you? My son and I looked at buying a business over the last 3 or more years. I can personally attest to valuing more highly a company that has good records. The next is growth potential. I spent a good deal of time the last few months summarizing the growth potential of the recreational vehicle industry using public information from a trade association and 2 major public companies that represent 82% of all RVs produced in the USA. I looked at trends in age of owners, growth in unit sales, growth in content per vehicle. Will it grow more, or is it now saturated? I am amazed at the precariousness of so many businesses, especially family-owned ones. Places where the founder of a $100 million company is responsible for all decisions. Even Ford Motor a couple of weeks ago had to shut down production for over a week due to a fire at a single supplier location. How many companies have you heard about that went out of business when their biggest customer, representing 60% of their business, found a new supplier or ran into its own troubles and went out of business or could not pay its bills? Do you require gobs of cash to keep the business running and growing? Or do you create cash and are able to finance your own growth without borrowing money? Do you have money tied up in inventory or receivables? Or do you collect money before you even build the product? Let's see. We pay Pacific Source, an insurance company, over $2,000 each month for what? Medical insurance. We may not even use it. In mid-March, we paid Lazy Boy over $1,000 deposit for a love seat and chair we have yet to receive 9 weeks later. Recurring revenue is something you can count on to some extent, and that increases the value of your company. TruGreen provides quarterly treatments to my lawn. Xfinity provides internet, television, and phone for my home. We subscribe to many magazines. We provide regular donations to our church that wants us to sign up for automatic payments weekly or monthly. There are 9 or more ways to provide some level of subscription revenue in any business. Monopoly control is where you get to set the price of both the product and your company. This is where you are the leader in a niche area. Compared to other venues in Vancouver, the Heathman Lodge is a good example of a company distinguishing itself with its lodge. Yet, it does not compare to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas or the Bellagio with its famous fountain. Without customers, you have no business. Yet, so many companies have no idea who their customers are and could not tell a prospective buyer of the company much about them. That's sad, and that's devaluing. I'm shocked by the number of companies that cannot survive a medical emergency of the owner. I'm not just talking small companies either. I mean companies that are run from the top and are grossing $50 million per year, $100 million per year, and more. So, there are 8 drivers of value for your business. Whether the value is in the eyes of the buyer or the eyes of your family who want more of you, or the eyes of the bank or other investors? The 7 in the Porsche 987 comes from my own model of business, the 7 Forces. A good deal of this is covered in other videos available on my website, businessaccelerants.com. I also encourage you to get a copy of my new book, Accelerating Start to Finish, Align 7 Forces for Business Success. It's available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon in both paperback and electronic formats. As I was preparing this material, I saw I promised to talk about trends. Unfortunately, that was way too broad a topic. I am constantly answering questions for analysts about trends in transportation, for safety, autonomous vehicles, battery electric vehicles. Other times it's questions about cybersecurity and blockchain. Medical advances is another often discussed area. Entertainment, games, robotics, Industry 4.0. I decided to take another tack on the subject. You need to understand what trends are important to your customers and therefore to your business. A long time ago, Abraham Maslow postulated humans are driven by just a few things. He started with 5, and others have now expanded it to 7. Humans want to satisfy the needs at the lower level before advancing to the highest level. For simplification, someone needs food, water, and sunshine at the bottom of the pyramid before they can become an enlightened guru in India at the top of the pyramid. What are the emotional triggers driving your customers, your industry, your employees, your suppliers? This morning, my email included a chart on the smart speaker market. Our son and his family have a variety of controls with Alexa. I control the lights in the den with Siri. The market is obviously growing. What human need is it fulfilling? What do you think? You can learn a bunch more about the 7 Forces in the book. Assume for discussion today that the business is our venue here, the Heathman Lodge. I and we are customers today. I might have booked the room through Travelocity or another aggregator of rooms. I actually just called them up, went through the switchboard to the catering group. On the supply side, they have lots of things to consider, from food and drinks, to napkins and laundry services, to financial resources. We talked about the competition and how they stand out. Did any of you attend an online webinar this month? That's an example of this little shark that is changing things. Ever been in a hotel when the fire alarm went off? Ever seen a leak in the roof of a hotel? Those are disruptions. I am not an expert in the hospitality industry, but I'm sure there are lots of expectations from trade associations and the government. Just recently, the Oregon legislature passed new laws related to janitors, of all things. Technology is one of my favorite areas. It certainly has affected how to make reservations, obtain locks for your doors, set alarms for the morning in the room, set a sleep timer for the TV. And finally, there is everything that goes on inside the walls of this building. The people, the processes, the products and services that are offered. A key to successful business is getting everyone to focus on what is important for the business and for their particular area of the business. I earlier used the term game plan. The Stanley Cup hockey finals start on Monday, Memorial Day of May. You can bet that the coaches and the players are developing a very specific game plan to compete with and beat the other team. They are planning what they will do in Game 1 and what they will do in Game 3. I frequently see sports coaches with a single sheet of paper they keep referring to during the game to remind them of what to do in various situations. Often that piece of paper is held in front of their mouth so that cameras cannot see what they are saying to the players and other coaches. Your business can benefit from a single sheet as well. It should have your vision and customer-focused mission. It should outline your major strategies and the measurable goals and objectives. And it should have specific actions to be taken by specific people in a specific time period. That's what makes the results accountable. A single piece of paper that can guide you and keep you focused. I like to arrange that single piece of paper in 7 levels. At each level, like a 2-year-old child, I can ask, why do I have to do this action? And the answer is just below in the objectives section. Why those objectives? Because these are my goals. Young children love to frustrate us by continuing to ask that simple question of why? In business, we have the concept of 5 whys or more to get to the root cause, or let's say the root value of something. At the core, the base of a business is the values of the owners and the customers they serve. Culture is a whole lot more than just a few words. I just completed a 9-video series on the subject of the 7 elements of culture as applied to a business. 9 videos because it has an introductory video and a summary video to go with one for each of the elements. It's available on my Twitter account or on LinkedIn. You can also find it on my YouTube channel and my Vimeo channel. So for me, personally, I take the one-page business plan software application or any other and create my own summary that looks like this. This is what Business Accelerants powered by TechIM is all about, and how I hope to serve you and your business. Let me give you a bonus on the Porsche 987 with a 10 to rule them all. Here are 10 strategic questions you need to consider through the life of your business, from the first idea for starting it to re-evaluating it after 30 years. What do you do? Who do you serve? Why do they want you? What's with the competition? How are you better? How will you find the customers? How big is the market? How will you make money? How will you manage the business? And what are your financial projections? For many businesses, it is not reasonable to do this all at once in a 1 to 3 day off-site strategic planning conference. Consider doing just a little bit each month. With the 8 drivers, you can create a 12-month program that looks something like this. For the 7 forces, you can do something like this. And of course, you can combine the 2 approaches, which is something I will be pursuing. I like helping companies. I do pro bono work through SCORE and the Small Business Administration. In my paid consulting, I particularly like working in the areas of technology, transportation, manufacturing, and I must confess, many more areas. Since I like the number 7 so much, I've put my services into 7 items. I offer both free and paid speaking engagements. I can help with the DISC personality assessment and discussions that can get people working together more effectively. I have offerings for developing your strategy and for managing the daily tactics and reports. I offer annual programs for strategy using both the 7 forces and the 8 drivers of business value. In several instances, I serve as a board advisor or a board member. No one can go it alone, so don't go it alone. Surround yourself with the people that can help you with specific issues and buoy you up when your spirit needs lifting. No matter what direction you want to take your business and your life, there are people to help you accelerate your profitable growth so that you can get more money from the business and more time for your life. Thank you.